But look at the contrast there.
Oh, look at that.
So one of the things that I know you've noticed in Iceland, Chris, is the ice is blue. It's not white.
Oh, yes.
It's blue, and I believe this guide here, his name's Dave. He gives us a little talk about why it's blue. Right here.
Looks like a penguin.
This, you guys, is a really good example of why you're seeing blue in the ice. So all of the other junk that we get in here has all these air bubbles in it, you know, that are snapping off, and you can hear them popping. So that's all the air in there is reflecting the light and making it really, really white, right? But so that's all air bubbles in there. But this piece of ice, you can see, has no air bubbles in it at all. It's just been compacted and compacted over centuries and centuries in the glacier that it's pushed all the air out. So it gets really, really dense, and the light goes into it, and the blue and the purple light are the only wavelengths that are emitted from something this dense. And that's why we see it as blue, but it's actually clear, as you can see. That's studied with Jay, we studied with
there you go.
Wow.
So because we were on a photography workshop, it was really important for our group to really shoot the icebergs, and so you'll see a lot of amazing iceberg footage here. But look at that! I mean, just look at that.
And then, of course, you could ask the guy who the boat guy to go back and forth and move to different places.
Yeah, and you know, and we were constantly moving all the way around these bergs to get the best light, and this was a bluebird day. This was just a stunning day. This is probably afternoon at this point, so. But you'll see in a little bit that we didn't always have the stunning weather, but it's obviously it's. Here comes this nice starburst here. Nice. But it's the more tumultuous weather that makes for the more interesting photographs.
Well, with this, I'm getting
Adrian
plenty of
is,
sky. I'm getting the reflection here. I'm basically getting from right off the side of the boat to above the sun at 60 millimeter. I'm also looking for those shapes in the front. See those big chunks of ice?
See you at all, sorry, but I'm on the back side of a very large.
Or maybe the mountains in the back.
And the sunset.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, and yeah, the sunsets down there are fairly dramatic, as you'll see.
Well, this already looking good. Or are you telling me it gets better?
It gets better. But yeah, the tour operator gives everyone these yellow jackets. That's why we're all looking like we're in uniform.
Oh, okay, so that's kind of included.
It was on this trip, yeah. Nice waterproof wear. But yeah, so you're just surrounded by all this wildlife. So here are these birds that were hanging out with us. I think these are Arctic tarns or terns, I forget right now. Quick trip to Wikipedia would solve that, but I haven't done that. So yeah, then again, you're just you're moving from point to point because it's a cruise. So you wake up,
Just
you know,
love the layers and the shapes, and oh look, now that you fixed the exposure,
yeah,
whoa, what a sky!
yeah. So it was pretty special, and this was the first day. This was all just the first day.
That's
so
amazing.
That gives you an idea of what you can experience in just one single day. So it's pretty special. So we'll fade to black here, and then we'll wake up in a different location, and I'll just give you some highlights of the rest of the 2 weeks. So as I said, it's pristine environment, so you also have to go through this kind of virus side here to make sure you're not bringing any nasties onto the continent that could endanger the animals. And you get in your Zodiac at the stern of the ship, and then you head out for who knows what amazing beauty you're going to see that day.
Pretty calm waters.
Yeah, it was nice. Some of it was almost like going on floating on a mirror. But
Nice for photography.
yeah, it was, you know, all kinds of different terrain and everything. So there's a nice little scale shot there.
Whoa. Okay, now I do have the scale.
Yeah. So look at the different forms you get. I mean, every iceberg is different.
Look at that cloud behind them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sitting there.
But all these different ridges in this iceberg, I mean, this iceberg must have been in a completely different orientation. It's shifted about 90 degrees.
And it probably slid down somewhere and this way got the ridges.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The ridges are probably all different water levels.
For that,
so
yes.
It's shifted. This iceberg has been on quite a journey here.
See if we went back up to the point there. Yeah.
But I mean, even just the reflections in the water. I mean, look at the opportunities you have here for photography. It's just astonishing.
Yeah, I'm coming around to you. I know why you want me there.
So we're cruising here. In the distance, you can see some penguins jumping out of the water. That's called porpoising, I believe. And they're just swimming around. And when we came across this one was really wild too. You can see this one had shifted quite a bit as well. And remember, the majority of the iceberg's underwater. So these are massive, massive structures, and they can shift very quickly. You can only get so close to them. And if you do get
speaking of shifting, I know where I want to use my tilt shift lens.
Yeah, you want to use your tilt
exactly
shift all over the place here.
Holy cow!
So you can see
look at
on
the
this,
layering.
Yeah, lost so much layering, and you can see the weather on this day was different. And
Doesn't
so
matter.
we were starting to get the darker skies, which became very exciting because you really, you have so much opportunities to get all these different, like you said, all the different layers. This is at Port Lockroy here, and this was an excursion we had to get some more penguins. And again, they just don't care.
Fed up with penguins after a while?
I don't think you can ever get fed up with penguins. They're so much fun to watch. This guy's shaking his butt.
Make your vote count.
You got a little something on your back there, pal.
There's a joke there, but
I don't think it's a joke. I think it's just the truth. Dude, you got poo on your back. Yeah, they tend to poop on each other quite a bit.
Oh, and the blue.
I just have to say, also the people you meet on these trips are pretty incredible. That gentleman I was talking with, that was my roommate, and David, and he's a doctor from Canada, and he'd actually volunteered in Nepal, and he'd gone to Mount Everest, so we had quite a bit to talk about. But here's Seth, one of the other leaders of our group.
There's light glimmering off this left side. There's a big blue hole right about 3/4 of the way up. Sky is split pitch black and then lighter. Just a great form. This is an iceberg's iceberg.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was more like a castle than an iceberg. Look at that sky.
I can see so many amazing pictures.
And then I was seeing here, I'm not looking at the iceberg right here, I'm looking at the water splashing up on the iceberg. Because you get these lagoons.
For video, it's kind of hard to hold the camera still, though.
Yeah, I was doing my best. Yeah, no tripod needed in the boat.
Still photography is from the boat. Oh, and it's obviously bright enough too, so.
Can we get our group shot taken of us on the iceberg?
Oh, wow. Might be the last thing I ever do. That's a great idea. I want to be so that I have
look at the shape.
So we've come around, about 45 degrees on this iceberg, I think. Maybe 180 degrees, and you just see so much different. This is a separate iceberg, obviously, but if you listen carefully, you can hear it popping. That's all the air being released from the ice. And this was all within 15 minutes here. All of a sudden we see these humpback whales. And what we're going for is we're looking for the tails. Here it goes.
Here we go. Here it is.
Oh. Do they just do that, or is it something they do for?
They're feeding there. Well, I thought the funniest thing there is you hear all the shutter releases.
Yes. Oh yeah. That's,
Just listen to the shutters.
that's photographers.
It was cracking me up. It was just like machine gun fire. But yeah, so we hung out with this group of humpback whales. So when they arch their backs, and then you can tell, you spend so much time down there, you get familiar with when they're gonna go down for a feeding, and that's when you see the tail come out of the water. And so what we were trying to do was get them to go down for the dive and get their tail, so we could get it, the water in the foreground, the tail, and then the iceberg in the